Hello everyone. So in this video, we are going to be treating dramatic techniques in Once Upon an Elephant. Let's begin. The first technique is the use of irony, and the first irony is the dramatic irony. And of course, you already know what dramatic irony is. That when an audience already knows something that the character do not know about, okay, that's dramatic irony. And of course, a good example is when Atanaku claims responsibility for Omoyene's pregnancy, but the audience knows that the child actually belonged to Delany, okay, because Yagba had already said it that that's a bastard, okay, that's a bastard child, a bastard harboring or wanting another bastard in the palace. All right, and then we have the situational irony, which occurs when the outcome is different from what is expected. All right, and a good example is when Sheribawan's evil, all of his atrocities eventually destroyed his own family, as his daughter Jesola is raped and he later commits suicide. So situational irony in this is basically the situation, how he had planned it for it to work out or to turn out, eventually backfired, okay, and it didn't end up the way he had planned it, okay. He planned to be very, very strong. I mean, when your son is on the seat of power, you know you have authority, you know you have wealth, and that was what he was clamoring for. But along the line, all of the Ijedodo, the Ulubori rights, everything that he was doing just so to have a better life eventually turned. His daughter was gravely affected and he couldn't withstand the shame and humiliation and he ended up killing himself. And at the end of the day, even the person, the same child that you want your child to be this, you want your child to be that, you want your child to be the king, eventually died. So, I mean, and of course, we have the use of suspense. We all know what suspense is, right? It's the intentional withholding of information, okay, to arouse the curiosity of the reader. And of course, the suspense here occurs where questions about Atanaku's legitimacy, okay, arose, all right? But it was later revealed that Sheribanwo is the real father. You know, when Iyaba went to the palace and he said, "Oh, you are a bastard, you are a this, you are a that," and after Iyada was sent out by Sheribanwo, Ajanoku looked at Sheribanwo and asked if everything that Iyada had been saying about his legitimacy was real. And Sheribanwo knew that, this is the secret is almost out. He found a way, to cover that. But the audience already are in the know that Ajanoku is a bastard, right? So it was later revealed that Sheribaon is his real father. This keeps the audience engaged until the truth is revealed. Okay, and of course, eventually, towards the last scene where Desola was brought to Iyagba's house, and then Sheribaon later comes to the scene. Iyagba asked him, "Who is the father? Who is Ajanoku's father?" And then he had to own up that he is Ajanoku's father. Symbolism, this use of objects, names, or actions to represent deeper meanings, right? So basically, we have key symbols. So we have characters symbolizing things or symbolizing a particular. So we have characters here being the symbol, and of course we have Olaniyonu. Olaniyonu is the same as Ajanoku. So his real name is Olaniyonu. And well, for Yoruba speaking students, Olaniyonu means that wealth has flaws. Okay, Ola Oniyonu, and we see that he actually lived to his name. Yoruba will say Oruko don ro omo. He actually lived up to his name. So even though he preferred to be referred to as Ajanoko, that is the elephant, his real name is Olaniyonu. Okay, so even the wealth that he had, the fame that he had, it wasn't clean. They were with flaws. In fact, too many flaws, right? So another is Ajanoko, of course, the elephant. And of course, Ajanoko symbolizes power, strength, and tyranny because anywhere the elephant tramples on, they are going to feel the impact of it. And that was the same thing. He came to power and lots of people felt the impact, the negative impact. Okay, so it tramples on people, he withheld what belonged to them, he seizes what belonged to them, he was doing a whole lot of things, just like the elephant. And then we have Sherubawan. Sherubawan, of course, Sherubawan is another Yoruba name. Sherubawan is it means to scare people, okay, to scare people or to put fear in the heart of people. And Sherubawan actually lived to his name too, because why on earth will you decide to do Olubori right for your son? knowing fully well what it entails. Like who want to stand side by side with the gods? Because humans are not meant to be immortal, but you are willing to go to that extent, okay? And in the process of all of that, we see a lot of people taking the fall for this singular act of Sheribamon. Then we have foreshadowing. Of course, we already know that foreshadowing is when a character sees into the future, okay, of an action that is yet to happen, okay. And of course, in the play, he had that foretells Ajanoku's downfall. He had that will always go to the palace and will sing that song for him. And he say, you see, you are coming down. She wasn't scared to go to the palace to tell him, not once, not twice. She goes there, even though they refer to her as a mad woman. She didn't care. She's certain. She was certain that power hungry king like Ajanoku would eventually be destroyed. And of course, just as our warnings, it came true, and it came true. And of course, that is an element of foreshadowing because obviously Ajanoku eventually fell, died, okay, and of course that also was the end of what she had predicted would come. And of course, Desala foreshadows her inability to get married to Odekunle as she faces humiliation. So of course, there was also another instance of foreshadowing through Desola's dream. You remember that Desola told Odekunle her lover her dream about how that it was their wedding day, but she couldn't sing, and Odekunle was very, very embarrassed, and he was shouting and instructing her to sing. But the more she opened her mouth to sing, no song was forthcoming. Okay, and of course, the humiliation that she felt from the both of them in the dream actually came to pass because Adanoku had his way with her unlawfully, and of course, you all know the Yoruba history. Okay, if you watch my video on the summary, you remember where I talked about the Yoruba history, how that a new bride on the night of the wedding, the new bride must meet with her husband, no matter how tired they are, they must meet that night. Okay, and in front of their house, you have the bride and groom, the couple's families, okay, outside, drinking, gyrating, and enjoying themselves. We hope that the wife will come out with a stained handkerchief. Now, that handkerchief is a symbol that the wife was pure up until that time, okay? So it shows that the wife is not a loose wife, right? So that means that if the wife had come out with a very clean handkerchief, that means that the wife was promiscuous before entering. And what they do in most cases is to return the dowry of the wife, the dowry that's been paid to the wife's family, return it, and the wife goes back to her family in shame, right? So that was what Jesola was scared of her. I couldn't sing. The more I opened my mouth to sing, no words were coming out. And I was crying and hoping that I could sing, but I couldn't. And of course, she couldn't. Because after the rape, after the unlawful, advantage by Ajanoku, there is no man that can marry her, not even Odekunle, you know. So that's another. So we have the use of folklore, and of course, Iyaba used this to its fullest, right? And this story in its entirety is based on the Yoruba folklore, okay, where the elephant is deceived by the tortoise, okay, because of what the because of the atrocities that the elephant commits, he's too big, he can't look down, he can't put himself in other people's shoes that are not as big as he is. So he just trampled on anybody, tramples on animals like that, and then they thought, okay, we need someone that will bring this elephant down. And Toto said, oh wow, say no more, I'm going to do that. And of course, the only way they could do that was, look, the villagers they've been deliberating on how to get a king, and every finger just points at you. They say that you have the right physics, you have the right, you have everything that it takes to be our king. So come and be our king. And of course, Cherubawon could be the tortoise, right? And then we have the Ajanoku, right? We have Olaniyono, Cherubawon's son, happy, to become the king, not knowing that, because of course, if he wasn't the king, he would have lived longer, right? But power was intoxicating, and because oh well, I want to be there, I can be that powerful. All right, let's go there, and he decided to be the king, not knowing that a pit had been dug and adorned and covered with beautiful clothes, mat, and everything, just in front of the throne. So just as he got there, he fell into the hole, into the pit, and immediately all of the animals came together and buried him. And that was the end of his tyranny in the animal kingdom. And just like that, we see it at play too. Iyagba coming to save the day and to put an end to Olaniyonu's tyranny in the land. Right. So a refrain from the folklore is sung repeatedly. Characters like Sheribawan and Ajanoku represent the tortoise and elephant respectively. And like the tortoise, Sheribawan teaches Ajanoku in his pursuit of power and immortality, leading to his downfall. All right. And with that, we have come to the end of techniques in Once Upon an Elephant. On my schedule, I should go online, maybe on TikTok or on YouTube. I should go online. I should go live so we can address some other questions because I've dwelt on this play far too long. I need to move on to another play, right? I don't want to make sure that I'm able to cover African drama, non-African drama, then African poem, non-African poem. I don't know if I'll be able to do African prose because of our time for those that will be writing this exam, in April. I don't know if you're going to be able to cover that, but I'll try as much as possible to cover African drama and non-African drama. One African prose, one African poem, and one non-African poem. So till I come your way next video. Bye.